A 4-year-old American child battling stage 4 cancer was deported from his own country. And when Congress demanded answers, the official responsible couldn't produce a single piece of evidence to justify it. And
You're back.
Gentleman yields. I now recognize Mr. Magaziner for 5 minutes.
Madam Secretary, on April 24th, a woman in Louisiana was deported along with her 7-year-old daughter and 4-year-old son, both of whom were U.S. citizens. The 4-year-old son had stage 4 cancer. Now, you just stated under oath that the mother consented to having her U.S. citizen children removed. But I have spoken with the attorney for that U.S. citizen child with stage 4 cancer. She has also made numerous statements to the press in which she stated unequivocally that at no time did the mother consent to her U.S. citizen children being removed. What evidence do you have to support your claim that she did consent?
Congressman, we followed the same policies and procedures
What evidence
for every
do you
individual,
have?
and we
What
have
evidence do you have?
We have
that
documentation
she? What documentation do you have that mother
We
consented?
will get that to you, sir. I don't have it with me.
Please do.
today,
I understand
but that
it's
mother
hard to keep them all
consented
straight
to
because
take
you've
her
deported
child with
multiple
her.
U.S. citizen children, but I'm asking specifically about the 4-year-old with cancer who was deported on April 25th. For the record, that family was also not given access to legal counsel before they were deported, even though their lawyer was in the same building at the time. I'm holding in my hands here a document called ICE Directive 11064, Interests of Non-Citizen Parents and Legal Guardians of Minor Children. This is the policy for how ICE agents should handle situations like this. It states unequivocally that parents and legal guardians should have the ability to make alternative care arrangements for minor children prior to their arrest or detention, and that ICE must afford parents the opportunity to consult with legal counsel. So, did the ICE agents working on this case who deported this 4-year-old with cancer of their own volition fail to follow ICE policies, or were they directed to by your office or anyone else in DHS leadership?
Sir, this mother chose to keep her child with her.
You have not produced any evidence
when
to
to
say so,
return
but I'm
back to
asking
her
again,
home country,
have you directed
and that is the
DHS
priority of President Trump is
officers
to keep
to
families
ignore
unified
this
together. It's
policy?
very different than the previous
right.
administration. The previous administration
On
separated
March
families
15th,
over and over
reclaiming
and
my
over
time,
again.
on March
This
15th,
is a
your
change.
department sent 3 airplanes to El Salvador. Those planes carried approximately 261 individuals who were imprisoned upon arrival. Did you personally review and approve the names of those 261 individuals before they were sent?
Sir, we have deported and sent home
Did
thousands
you
of individuals.
review the names of those
And
individuals?
we have individuals that have the
Why won't you answer the
responsibility
question?
within the Department of
Are you
Homeland
aware
Security.
of whether those 261 individuals were given the opportunity to speak with a lawyer or appear before a judge before they were put on those planes? Yes or no?
Sir, every single individual followed the exact same process.
They
that we
were
follow
not
for everyone
all.
who's
They
in
were
this-
not all given
in
the
this country
opportunity to appear
illegally.
before a judge or speak with a
was
lawyer. On
treated the
April
same.
7th, the Supreme Court ruled that detainees must have an opportunity to have a hearing before they are deported. Are you familiar with the April 7th Supreme Court ruling?
I am.
Can you assure us that in the future you will abide by that Supreme Court ruling to provide detainees with a hearing before they are
We're
deported?
following all judges' orders. Yes, sir.
I have a photograph here of André Hernandez Romero, a gay makeup artist from Venezuela. He fled Venezuela fearing gang violence because of his opposition to the Maduro dictatorship and his sexual orientation. He presented himself at a port of entry and requested asylum. His claim was found to be credible, and he was placed in detention to await a full hearing. But he never received a full hearing because you put him on one of those planes to El Salvador, where he still is today. Listen to me. He had no criminal record in the United States or in any other country. He did not even enter the country illegally. He presented at a port of entry. He tried to do it the legal way, and to this date, the only evidence your department has presented to justify his imprisonment is that he had 2 tattoos, one that said mom and one that said dad. Do you have any other evidence to present for why this individual should be locked up in El Salvador?
Sir, every case is used
you have
the
any-
same protocols and the same processes and inputs.
Do you have any
that
evidence
that
other than the
law enforcement
tattoos that say
officers
mom
use in
or dad
criminal
for why
cases?
this
So
individual
it's not
should be
just
locked
on
up?
tattoos. It's who they're affiliated with, their communication.
You have not
who they're
presented
spending
any
time
other
with,
evidence,
criminal
nor has your
activities.
department.
The cases
Reclaiming
move
my time,
exactly the
during
same
your
as it is
confirmation
with
hearing,
other
you said your focus would be on deporting immigrants who have been convicted of crimes and those who have received removal orders. But that is not what you have been doing. Instead, you have been deporting children with cancer, children who are U.S. citizens, a gay makeup artist who committed no crime and didn't even enter the country illegally. You have been sloppy. Your department has been sloppy, and instead of focusing on real criminals, you have allowed innocent children to be deported while you fly around the country playing dress up for the cameras. Instead of enforcing the laws, you have repeatedly broken them. You need to change course immediately before more innocent people are hurt on your watch.
Gentleman's time has expired. I now recognize...
What we just witnessed wasn't a normal hearing. It was something far rarer. The kind of moral collision that strips away politics and leaves only one question standing. Who are we when power meets the powerless? It began with a simple inquiry, but what it revealed felt like an indictment of a system that's forgotten its soul. A congressman asking why a 4-year-old American child, dying of stage 4 cancer, was deported from his own country. And across from him, a government official unable to produce a single piece of evidence, a single signature, a single form to justify it. In that silence, the entire machinery of bureaucracy was exposed. She wasn't just failing to answer. She was revealing what happens when compassion becomes optional and procedure replaces conscience. He wasn't just exposing a scandal, he was exposing the rot underneath it. Because this wasn't about immigration, it wasn't about paperwork, policy, or process. It was about something deeper, the quiet erosion of accountability inside the institutions meant to protect us. A 4-year-old child born on American soil, fighting for his life, treated as a logistical inconvenience. His mother's pleas ignored, her rights to counsel denied. A government that could not even locate its own humanity long enough to pause a deportation order. This wasn't about partisanship. It was about power and what it hides. Every democracy stands or falls not on how it treats the strong, but on how it treats the fragile. And in that room, fragility had no advocate but one man demanding proof that empathy still existed in the system built to serve it. We's. It's easy to forget that behind every policy, there are human beings. But that day, Seth Magaziner forced Washington to remember for Joe. When he asked for evidence, what documentation do you have? What he was really demanding was moral evidence, not bureaucratic. Because the phrases we heard, we followed procedures, we'll get that to you, every case is handled the same way, are the modern language of denial. The words that turn human suffering into administrative routine. In that sense, the hearing wasn't just about deportation. It was about the quiet decay of truth itself. The moment the record disappears, accountability goes with it. And we've seen this pattern before. In the 1980s, the Iran-Contra hearings revealed a government that treated law as a technicality when power was at stake. Back then, officials spoke in the same flat tone of procedure. I don't recall. I was following orders, as if detachment could cleanse wrongdoing. What we heard in this hearing was that same reflex in a modern form. Bureaucratic fog thick enough to obscure even a child's suffering. Policy jargon weaponized to protect those in charge, not those in need. The parallels are unmistakable. When exposure is treated as danger, truth becomes treason. And when that happens, cruelty stops being accidental. It becomes systemic. But perhaps the most revealing moment came when Magaziner held up the photograph of a gay asylum seeker from Venezuela, a man who fled persecution only to be imprisoned and deported because of 2 tattoos that said "Mama" and "Dad." No criminal record, no illegal entry. Just an official decision that turned fear into justification. That's when the hearing's tone shifted from disbelief to something colder, recognition. Recognition that this wasn't a series of isolated missteps, but the operating rhythm of a government more comfortable enforcing rules than questioning them. She wasn't dodging questions. She was defending a system allergic to sunlight. And yet, amid the procedural fog, one truth cut through. The more complex the bureaucracy becomes, the easier it is for morality to disappear inside it. The secretary's evasions. We followed the same process. Every case is handled the same. Weren't just answers. They were symptoms. Because when everyone follows the same process, and no one takes responsibility, injustice stops being an error. It becomes policy. That's the reflex of power under pressure. The instinct to shield itself, to defend the process, even when the process produces cruelty. To act as though empathy were a luxury we cannot afford. But what Magaziner reminded us is that democracy only works if the people inside it are willing to hold each other accountable. His voice wasn't loud, but it carried the weight of something older than law, the expectation of decency, saying, "You have been sloppy," he said. And in that word, sloppy, he captured an entire moral indictment, a government that treats life and death decisions with the same carelessness it treats paperwork. That's not just administrative failure, it's moral bankruptcy. When we look back on hearings like this, history won't remember the evasions, it will remember the questions. Because this was never about one child or one official. It was about whether justice still applies upward or only downward. Whether our government still feels bound by the values it claims to represent. And when a 4-year-old with cancer can be deported without record or defense, that question answers itself. Still, moments like this matter. They pierce through the noise and remind us that oversight isn't theater. It's the last form of moral resistance left in public life. And it forces us to ask, if procedure can justify cruelty, what's left to justify procedure? Because when truth becomes negotiable, democracy becomes theater. And when power hides behind process, justice becomes performance. We can't afford to accept that as normal. The survivors of these policies, the deported, the silenced, the forgotten, deserve more than apologies. They deserve a government that acts like justice still means something. If you believe truth should never depend on who it threatens, keep this conversation alive. Like and subscribe to the channel.